Maybe a rat.
Oh, that's another
I saw a
owl.
roach.
Oh, welcome to South
I
Carolina.
know, I didn't realize.
And we don't call them roaches, they're palmetto bugs. So,
Palmetto
Yes.
bugs.
yeah,
Okay.
palmetto bugs.
Or roach.
They're still scary.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I was terrified.
Have you
I
seen
really
one
had
yet?
no idea. It was really big.
Yeah,
They-
they'll take your wallet.
They
Don't-
fly.
Kentucky.
Just for the record,
What is it?
they fly.
Yeah.
Oh no! great.
Yes,
Thanks.
just fair warning. So when it flies at you, you know you don't have a heart
I guess I've
attack.
been warned.
No, you've been warned too. So do you not live down here?
I lived in Florida for 2 years. I live in Ohio now.
What part of Ohio?
Columbus, right outside.
I'm originally from Youngstown.
We're from
I'm originally from
Steubenville,
Steubenville, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know where Stevie is. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, normally when I say Youngstown, I get the oh, like they're like I'm not
No,
looking
no.
at that guy. So especially if people know what Youngstown is. So yeah, and yep, there's the look. That's the I know exactly what that place is. There's a reason why I escaped. I got the hell out of there. But anyway, yeah.
All the smart ones do, yes.
Haven't been back since. I visited one time in the 12 years since I left.
Wow.
Yeah, one time.
You do better than me. I go back a couple times a year.
Well, I will say I moved out of the city several times, but ended up getting trapped back in because I moved to Cleveland, and then I got trapped back in. I moved to Akron.
You didn't
I
go
got
far
trapped
enough.
back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got
So then when I had the opportunity to move to South Carolina, I said, run. Let's charge as far away as we can. And to be honest with you, in a couple of years, I have to move to Louisiana, and I'll be doing this in New Orleans. So for me,
that would be a
I know,
cool
right?
place to do this.
So,
yeah.
so my wife is actually training to be a vet, so to finish up her schooling.
My sister's a vet.
Yeah,
She'll be
my daughter's a vet.
okay. Where at? Like private practice?
Pittsburgh, yeah, she owns
Oh,
a
okay.
clinic.
Gotcha.
She went to Ohio State.
Ohio State had that.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're one of the best vet schools in the country.
Subjective.
It's the third
Bias.
best, the
Bias.
third ranked is,
Well, we have to keep going further south. So I told my wife, I was like, once we get to New Orleans, I don't think we're coming back. Like, you can tell your company, like, I know they're excited to have you coming back with your DVM, but I don't think we're coming back here. So I think we're just going to stay in New Orleans. So that's just going to be our preference. I'm almost positive. I might actually have friends down there. Sorry, this is the holy city. I'm a little like under the radar for what I do out here, just so you guys know. Anyway, back to why we're here. Colleen's looking around like, oh shit, where did I move to? So
I'm going to be,
communication devices. What's the first question everybody wants to ask a Ouija board when they get in front of one? If you haven't used one, just think of a TV show where you have.
Is someone here?
Yes, exactly. So you're exactly right. That's normally the first question people ask. So let's say we all stood around just like this and said, is anybody here? And then Paul hears the answer no coming out of that spirit box. That means somebody's here. You guys getting my point? We're not using yes, no questions. You guys are going to go back home and watch your TV shows and giggle your asses off because that's all they do is ask yes, no questions. Can you tell me if you're here? That's a yes, no question. So all of those type of things. When I'm teaching people how to listen to these things, it's a matter of kind of asking things that you already know the answers to and very open-ended. If somebody's here, tell me what color a big red barn is. Now we know we're looking and listening for the color red. So you kind of already have that instinct, but the three of you, because you're not listening yet, are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey those messages back to the rest of us. The word red might not be available if you ask that question. Fire truck, blood, heart. Those three things are specifically red, and I would take that as a possible answer if something else was going on. So let me give you another example of that. Let's say Colleen's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything over here by itself because we're not talking about art. Alicia, I'm sorry, I see your name and I keep wanting to say Alicia.
That's okay.
I'm sure you used
Close
it.
enough. Yeah,
So
no.
Alicia, here's the number 40 coming out of hers. If you put art and 40 together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where this is a lot of puzzle piece collecting on your end? And I know what 90% of the puzzles look like because, again, I go to these places hundreds of times every year. The fun part for me is when you guys find a weird 10% and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know who Robert is or what 27 might mean. That's where I get excited because that means I have to do more reading and research because that's really what I'm trained to do is to be a writer. That's what all of my degrees are in. So you guys are going to let me know all of the weird things that you hear, and it might not be a direct answer. So Alicia might actually ask a question. The answer can go anywhere. That includes your camera audio, my voice recorder audio, or the other two devices. So the only piece of communication we don't have is in Paul's hand. So he has kind of like a presence kind of mentality. So that's what we're hoping to find out of that. So it's kind of like why I paired those two devices up together. Camera, we only have one tonight. We're going to be in spaces just like this where there might be people walking by or parked cars. We don't film either one of those. People get really weirded out when we're filming their vehicles. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, when you're recording, try to be as still as possible. I watch those videos in double time to get more coverage of the video.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to find an anomaly if it's moving faster than it should. So again, sometimes things will creep in, and I've watched things where like it comes in really fast if I'm watching it in double time, but you wouldn't have seen it if it was watching in standard time. I've been doing this long enough now, especially with that camera, where I can learn to see where the anomalies will pop up. So the more still you are, the easier it is going to be able to find an anomaly. So just kind of keep that in mind. Any other major questions about your devices? Have you guys heard anything yet? Any crazy words showing up that I need to know?
Well,
I saw he's in the,
He's in the...
and he didn't tell me.
They were all separated like that. So it'll actually save those. So if you want to see what you've had, I don't see any of those.
When it was there, because I kept looking at it. It said he's in the. It's not on.
I wonder how early it is. These are all the terms you've had so far. That's a lot. Wait a minute, it didn't erase from the previous night. So I'll have to like go back and just get the specific dates. So I want to say ours started with virtue. So everything above virtue, like I don't want to go back and clear the list because there's some things in there that are actually relevant, it looks like.
No, I saw this. No, I saw alien.
Mm-hmm. Restriction and your...
I saw restriction. I saw. Whoa, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I saw alien. I saw screw. And that, but that's not on here now. That
Yeah,
he's in there.
that's weird.
That I saw
That is weird.
because I did see it.
Hmm. I wonder if, no, because that's not receiving text messages. There's no service to it. Okay. I was like, maybe you got a text from my wife that my wife is
No,
telling me about the dog.
I did see those words. He's in there, and I
Okay.
kept waiting for it to tell me where. And
It's interesting that it
nothing
also
came up.
didn't clear when I cleared it, because I also have to confirm to clear it, and I know I did that. So the fact that we have last night's terms on there too is really weird. So, like, maybe you saw something and then it just, now it says allow. A lot of your stuff is going to be really vague, just so you know. And I'm going to be like, yeah, that's not enough. I want something more definitive. Jimmy, you're about to tell me you heard something.
I did. Well, this is a lot, but only when we were over there, I heard the name Jack really clearly.
Okay.
Is that? I don't know.
I'm going to see if something else pops up with
not
it.
John, but Jack.
I'm going to write down Jack. I'll look at the roster because I don't have it memorized. I'll see if there's a relation there. But if there is something else that goes on,
They use
Got
Jack
Jack.
as a nickname for John.
Yeah.
yeah, but not for him specifically. Like he died pretty recently, like 10, 12 years ago. So that was not a nickname for him. Like he went by, everybody called him Big John. So that was kind of his thing. And I don't even think, like, even in his obituary was there the name Jack
You gave it back to
anywhere.
me.
So
Sorry. Yeah.
very interesting. But the word doc, I want something a little bit more specific. So I'll be writing down the word Jack for sure. Did you get any numbers on your deal yet?
I had a few spikes, yeah.
How high did they go?
At one point, I saw like 32, but it went away immediately.
Did you have your phone out?
No.
Okay.
And then
I had-
it's been like it pinged between 2 and 3.
And where was
for,
that
like, a
32
second.
at? Were we on the sidewalks?
We were standing right
Standing
right
here.
there. Yeah.
Wow, that's actually
I'm
real.
at 0, and I've been at 0 for a
That
while.
32 is astronomically high. So if we get anything in this space, it's usually between like a 2 to a 7. So the fact that he had a 32, like that is
9.3.
ridiculous. Wow.
I mean, it's just going up, and then it'll go immediately back down to 0.
And that's a good thing. So
Is it?
if it was coming from a man-made object, so if it was coming from we'll just say you were standing next to an electric pole,
Yeah.
it's going to be like 32, 29, 21, 16, 25, 28. Like it's going to trickle around those areas. Like if you're getting like a 32 and then right back down below 1, like that's not anything man-made. So and
Okay.
I don't always have readings here. So your 9 at this point is exciting to me, let alone the 32. So I did write down both of them.
Okay.
And the name Jack, of course, I got all consumed by the numbers. And I'm going to explain what those numbers are when we get to the next stop. Any other major questions or things that you may have come up with in your head? I love that you're recording already and we're getting the ground.
Oh, well, I keep picking it up, but like I just, yeah. I get distracted.
It's okay. it's probably a good thing I didn't give you a spirit box then.
Probably,
because
because that would be
like I said,
totally
it's a
distracting
lot.
to me. Yes.
Yeah.
It is a lot, and the spirit boxes are not easy to do.
Okay.
So you do have the hardest job out here, just so you know, like among the 5 of you. But just know that that is kind of my area of expertise when it comes to all of this gear. Like when a paranormal team calls me to come help, it's because of what I can do with the spirit box. So I have really decent ways of explaining it. Have you heard anything yet? He's got the name Jack.
Not really.
Okay, nothing you can make out. And it's all the silly
Nicki Minaj
things.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna get, commercials like that say go buy a Toyota.
Yeah.
Tell me that you heard go buy a Toyota.
Okay.
Like that's
so
what we're
anything
looking
that's not music.
for.
Just
No, the
like-
music works too. So if
Okay.
you hear the song Stairway to Heaven, I don't care that you heard Led Zeppelin. I
Okay.
care that you heard the lyrics Stairway to Heaven.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because our ghosts from the colonial days aren't gonna know who, Robert Plant is. So they're gonna want to use the lyrics to kind of convey a message.
Okay.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
You got it now?
Get it,
Yeah.
get it.
Think of it as Bumblebee from Transformers. Does that make sense? Did you guys see that movie?
No.
No.
Wow, nobody in the group has seen that movie.
Nope.
No.
Wow. Bumblebee did not have a voice box, and he's a car.
Oh.
So he used the car radio to
Oh, that's
speak
clever.
to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a 1981 trick. Come on, guys, get with your cartoons. All right. I'm like, okay, let's do this. So I take my birthday off every year. I own a company. I could do that, right? So anyway, just weird to me, I guess, because I do meet a lot of weirdos. And by the way, if you're wondering where all the weirdos are tonight, just look around. You're them.
That's fair.
We are going to be running into other groups that can go up to 20, because that's what the city allows us to do. We just stay out of their way. So this is our first official space. Nobody comes here, which is what I love about it. So we do have a couple of vehicles in here. So on your end, and I don't know why there's a bicycle over there being parked. That's super weird. But keep in mind, those are the people going to get weird. If they're walking by, just point your camera in a different direction. They're going to be looking at you like, what the hell are you guys doing in an empty parking lot? So congratulations, you made it to one. So this space used to be something relevant to the history of Charleston, like I said. So what was this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of the space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant. That's the steeple right there. It came all the way across. That's a restaurant now. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So that's the layout of the land. By the way, communication device people, I am not going to be giving you questions here, like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the big red barn. So you're going to get the answers from your communication devices. This is where I start withholding information on purpose. So that way you guys actually have a genuine experience. Now, who the hell were Charles and Eliza Pinckney? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. That's why we look for those secondary clues. In the event the name Charles shows up for Miss Colleen over there, I'm hoping that one of you is going to get another clue so I know which Charles it is. That's why I always have 2 different communication devices, minimum. Now, Charles the son and Charles the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. So it's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. But if I don't give them that recognition on a regular basis, they're going to leave us a nasty message on a spirit box. It happens all the time. So if I forget, they remind me. Like, hey, dude, like, what the hell are you doing? But anyway, they don't say dude because they're from the colonial days. So, but anyway, so
Ava, anybody? Because I've got Ava.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember Eliza's mother's name. And I don't think I know it off the top of my head. So I will dive into that for you for sure. So whenever names and numbers show up, I dive into every single one.
Well, yeah, I had another one. As we were walking across the street, I heard the name Elliot. It's such a bizarre thing.
It is. I like it though. So Ava and Elliot, a bunch of E names. Wow, okay. Because we're going to be discussing Eliza. And that's the story that I tell you. So let's get into Eliza, and then what we're going to do is we're going to spread out. I'll kind of give you guys focus questions to have something to work with. And I'll do 1 round robin with everybody, probably 2 based on our size being a little smaller. And then I'll regroup us and give you all of the answers and move us on to the next space. So in the event for my first round robin, you guys have nothing going on. I'm not going to make us waste time. I'll just bring us back. I don't time this. We just go. So it's all based on the activity of where we are. So any numbers coming out of you? You look like you got something to tell me over there.
It's back to like 3.6 and 4 a couple
So
times.
we're at a new space. So your baseline is a 2.5. Now it's going to be a 3.6. So tell me everything above that 3.6, and we're just going to keep it escalating up. So remind me to write that 3.6 down. Let's discuss Eliza. She has a much better story. Do you know her story? Since you know the signers of the Constitution?
I don't know her story.
Well, do you read a lot?
Yes.
The Indigo Girl will give you her full...
Oh, I've read, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you've read that, this is kind of like a basic synopsis after the Indigo Girl. So here's how this goes. Eliza marries Charles at a young age. So according to today's standards, I say that because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers from the colonial days of when young ladies got married like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards because the husband, Charles, was over double her age. So kind of a creepy age gap then, a creepy age gap now. So she marries him because her father is over in England and he thinks he's dying. He wants his kids home so he can see them one last time. Eliza doesn't believe he's dying, so she stays put and she gets married. It's 1744. You do not get married in that year to get a green card. We are not a country yet. Those things do not exist. So she was, correct. Dad did not die right away. He starts sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. So that is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's what we use it for now. When she got her seeds, she didn't really know what to do with it. She had to learn from her, servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated because it's not always hot here. And then she had to learn how to make the dye. So by the way, all of this started right here. So when you go through the book, and she's starting to learn how to do it, it's all right where you're standing. So, but anyway, back to Eliza. So once she figures all that out and learns how to make the dye, she moves it to a cash crop down by the Stono River, one of her father's plantations that she's managing, and she gets a hold of him and tells him the rice plantation prices are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial days. So that's kind of like the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are here. So here's how this is going to go. Like I said, I'm going to hand out questions. So I'm going to start off, and you probably already know the answers to this, so it's going to be kind of unique that it's going to just pop up for you.
It's a long time ago.
Even still, it'll probably jog your memory when I tell you what you're going to be kind of looking for. Eliza that I just told you about, as you know, is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So it was kind of a jerk move. His first wife died in January of 1744, and 5 months later, he marries the one I just told you about. Yeah, so it's either really smart or really stupid, depending on what kind of gentleman you are. So you gotta look at it that way. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L.
Law?
Nope.
Oh, no, that Law just packed
Okay.
stuff
But
up here. I don't
depending
remember.
on which Eliza is actually here, the maiden name will pop up if you ask. So I'm also going to give you the this question in case it pops up. Was it? No, it's not. So the mansion's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it, and then of course, if you get the what, we will normally get 2 or 3 numbers of the when. So that's a very specific date. So we will get 2 or 3 numbers out of that date. Keep in mind, like I said, if you're asking questions, those answers can go anywhere. So you might be getting answers to what they're asking over there and so forth and so on. The 2 of you are going to go after the same set of questions because you're in 2 different groups. Same type of spirit box, but 4 things that we commonly get answers to are about her death. So you can ask how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and which president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So very specific questions. The only thing I'm going to ask from all groups is do not poke the bear and ask about the children. There's a tragedy there that if we poke too hard, even our little tiny 3.6 EMF readings, we won't get those. He will drop to 0 and all activity stops. I've seen it dozens of times. Oh. So this is a place of respect and a true love story. So again, this is not a gory, bloody kind of thing. So again, this is why I like to bring you guys here first, so that way we can kind of basically get a gist. And this is one of the most active spaces that I've ever been in, ever. So 12 years of doing ghost hunting, this place is active pretty much 6 out of 7 nights a week.
You said pallbearer?
Yeah,
Who the other ones?
Yeah, so the president was a pallbearer,
Okay.
where she's buried,
Okay.
how she died,
Okay.
and how old she was.
Okay.
EMF readings. Did you get anything else above that 3.6? I do want to explain what.
Yeah, it's pretty consistently between 1 and 2, but it spikes over
Up to
times.
1.1 is natural from the Earth, so that's why we go straight to that 2.5. So that, like I said, measures electricity. Let me get.
It seems like it spikes
be
every
my
time
thing?
you say somebody's
No.
name.
It's not. You're not close enough.
Okay.
You're not even, his cell phone would have to be touching it for it to get a reading from it. But if you were to put that behind your TV set, it's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. He did get a 32 when we were over there, so almost as much as what your TV puts out. Your microwave runs about 150 to 170 when you're heating up your food. Kind of gives you a basic gist. The highest I've ever seen that go in 12 years of ghost hunting has been at this location at 214 milligauss. We left. Like I said, I have epilepsy. That is not something I'm willing to toy with that much electricity in the air. So the guy with the neurological disorder, like I said, he's my safety check. So even if I had just, Jimmy and Paul here, that is one of the devices that I would probably keep on me just for safety's sake, because this place can get really, really high. That little blinky light device that I put away only goes to 25. So if we got anything above it, we wouldn't know it. So that's why I don't like to use it unless it's just kind of a backup and I have a full 12, people on my team. So yeah, we're gonna spread out here. I think everybody's got the basic gist of how to go through. So yeah, let's spread out. I'll do a round robin here in just a minute. I'll let everybody see what's going on. You've been recording this whole time, right, Sheena?
Yes, I'm on.
You're on the wrong screen though, so hit the stop button. It's a record button. Let's point out a couple of things. So this little corner loves to give us a lot of false positives. You're getting the outline of the windows. I can see that already. So because that's in depth. Anything that's in front of something else, it's going to pick it up. So the brick in between, like the panes of the windows, it's going to pick that up because it's a little bit more forward, and it's going to always try to make it look like a person. So it's picking up the 3 dots because there's actually 3 windows at the top. So easily debunked on that
But
one.
it really does try to make it a person, doesn't
Always,
it?
every single time. I called the developers before I even purchased this iPad because I don't like Apple. And I wanted to know how it worked before I brought it out here and tested it. So we turned on the sensitivity, like we put it on high and then started working our way backwards. This way we at least have things to debunk, and I can teach and train about it because it's not going to pick up a person every single time.
Right.
So, I mean, I would say maybe once a week I get something on this where I'm like, I'm not sure what that is, or I have that full interaction of somebody waving back at me because I asked them to. And it's okay to say, hey, if you're Eliza, can you raise your right hand or left hand, pick up your left foot, ask them something specific, just know what the perception is of what that is from their end. But yeah, you're picking up all the windows from over there. We have pallets over there. It'll pick up the dumpster, the outline of that. Just for shits and giggles, point it at the truck. I want to see if it's going. So see how it's picking? Oh, it's picking up the sign, but a lot of times, it'll give you the jig-jag of the shape of the truck because it's in front of something else. But it's a little dark. It's dark in color.
I think the sign is too close to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ahead of it, it's.
Well, I've even seen, because we have a lot of depth, if you have a weird angle from, the pallets to the stairs to the building, where it picks up something from all 3 of those angles.
Oh.
So it will pick up on a lot of different things. And again, if I see something that's out of whack, and believe it or not, it's so much easier to find something when it's watching it in double time. Because if it just kind of shows up real quick, I'm like, oh, I can go back and see what that was.
Right.
And then if it flickers, it's kind of like it's coming in, it's coming out, when you put it in double time, you can actually see them move. It's really cool. So, that's the other piece. Speaking of, turn it around. I'll give you another example. It's going to pick up our shadows. So our shadow is an absence of light. So it's going to look like it's in front of something else. So just kind of keep that in mind. Nobody's laying on the ground. It's not a chalk outline we need to make because somebody died right there. It's just picking up the absence of light. So I think you have all of the debunking processes. Anything with leaves on it is not going to be your friend, just because they're all in front of one another, and especially our palmetto.
The sign poles in particular seem to be.
Sign poles are the worst. Some of the spaces we're going to tonight are going to have a lot of foliage.
Okay.
And it's easy to debunk a lot of that stuff. I mainly look for, is somebody walking next to somebody else? Are they following your cousin around?
Right.
Because I've seen it where somebody will literally, they're in a different pose than the way your cousin might be as she's walking, and they're standing there like this behind her. It's really cool how that stuff does pop up. It's like, oh shit, who you got following you around? Who'd you bring? I'm not familiar exactly with the layout of the city, but it is very well possible that it could be there. I know where the cemetery is. Can't say that it is right. Interesting. I like it just because I don't know what it is. Nothing else in Philadelphia. Always. All right, fine, gentlemen. It doesn't matter. So sometimes it's
motorcycles.
Do too. This is strange.
A little bit. A little bit.
Getting some. He came up like protective and investigates. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's a those two are strange. I'm sorry, Dad.
This is weird though. Check this out. Like, just the way the camera works, it creates these like people like. Oh, come on! You're not gonna do it now that have somebody else looking at it. Hold on. Let me turn this way. It did it. Yeah. See there. It tries to create people out of those contours, and it's so weird. You can watch when it's doing it, and watch it do it. You know what I mean? Like, see how it. Like, it's a really weird programming thing.
Yeah. And is it people?
No, it's
Is it ghosts?
It's the windows. It's the way the windows are. It's trying to make sense of the things that it's seeing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's just weird that like you can see it trying to turn it into a person
Yeah.
though, like the various ways they could be standing or moving that they would be that way.
Wow.
That's really weird.
I love how you're putting the tools together.
Yeah.
But it's incorrect.
Where's Alicia going?
Shinny, you got anything crazy?
No, just stuff that I can identify.
Okay.
Yeah, it's poles and trees.
Put that back for me again. I did that, but I've had that word before and it
No,
came
it's
up again.
it's just been staying on your screen. There's no interval of how they'll come up.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna rein us in, gentlemen.
I heard we didn't start the fire,
Okay.
but then a little bit later I heard it again.
Yeah, it's gonna loop around.
Yeah.
But
So I heard it twice.
so you had the word fire that was still relatively close back to Pinky Mansion site. How are our words coming? What are the last couple
I
words we
got
have?
you, remarkable, square, reservation, leading, middle class, award, and stabbed. I told you I got stabbed.
Stab. Okay, so the 888 that you heard. So I guess I have to go into this. I don't always tell this piece of history, but when it does pop up, I guess something specific. So did you guys hear anything else that you didn't shout out while we were walking?
No.
Okay. So every ghost tour stops at the cemetery on the other side of this wall, but they do it from Church Street side. And there's actually two different sides. Nope, that doesn't listen to you. So I was thinking, like you heard the name or the word west. I was like, maybe she's creeping in early, like really, really early. Like that'd be weird, but it's actually on the eastern side. There's two different sides. Native Charlestonians get buried on the eastern side next to the church, and then everybody else goes to the western side. So that's kind of a little tidbit about Charleston when you guys go visit St. Philip's Church when you're walking around the city. Now on the eastern side, there's a sign right inside the gate. It says there's no ghost here, but the Holy Ghost. It's because I don't want jerks like me trying to recreate what actually occurred there. So here's how this goes. In 1888, a young lady passed away by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Her initials are very cheesy and campy. I only say that because we've gotten her initials in the past, not from just spirit boxes, but I do have a Ouija board device as well. So it gives us letters based off of EMF, like Paul's device. So back to Sue. She dies 6 days after her stillborn child. It's a very sad story, but in 1987, 99 years later, on the exact same day of her death, a photographer is taking pictures of all the cemeteries, unbeknownst of what he's about to capture. He does capture a full apparition next to her grave. It's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now to be able to analyze this photo, so he sends it to Kodak. I don't think I have to explain what Kodak is to this group. That's wonderful. A lot of times on teenagers, they have no idea. They think it's a bear. Is that the bear? I'm like, what are you doing? Like, yeah.
Who knew? That's where their mind went.
Oh, you wouldn't believe half the stuff I have to explain. So weird. But anyway, back to Kodak. They can only confirm the camera that he said he took the picture with, and that he did not alter the photograph. So we have this crazy apparition in this photograph, and if you actually study this stuff like me and you look in like, hey, what are the top 100 best apparitions ever caught? This photograph is normally in that list. So it is of a woman kneeling next to her grave wearing a shawl with a baby basket next to her. So the photo is cursed. So upon everybody's agreement, I will show it to you, but the only thing I'll ask is that don't touch the tablet. Females that are said to handle it, even in a digital format, are going to get the same symptoms like what we talked about at the top of our nights: the headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Pregnant females are said to not have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the stillborn baby. So if you guys want to see the picture, I'll be glad to show it to you. And she's like, yes, I want to see this picture.
That's
6
valid
days
Okay,
after
if I
the
get
stillborn child.
What?
Wait, what happened?
She
Oh.
died 6 days after the stillborn child. Wow, Sue. You're really showing your ass tonight. She normally only gives us something in June, which is when all of that occurred. So
I had salvation right before that.
I do like the specific number though. You can see
Yeah.
where like I'm like, holy cow.
That's why I put my glasses
So
on
there's
to make
there's
sure
our
it's a
height of
number.
our moment so far is that 6 and you heard 8888. Like I know it's 4 8s or however you heard it, but again, we don't get that many 8s without something popping up and we're getting closer to her grave. Her grave, by the way, is literally on the other side of this room. So let me show you the picture. Because Alicia's like super like interested. Like she was laser focused on me. Like show me the picture. Alright, so here's the full picture that he took. And then your apparition is right here. You're looking at a woman praying at her own grave with the baby basket next to her. So on a computer, when you zoom in even closer, you can see the weaving of the basket. Like it is crystal clear. So again, pretty cool stuff. But again, I don't always tell this story because every ghost tour ends with it. It's kind of their finale because they have something to show you. Obviously, kind of, I hate to say gimmick, but you guys are holding it. You know what I mean? Like you're the one doing the work, which is funny because you all paid me to go to work.
Sky.
I got nothing for that. This is why I don't have you show me every word because I just took a 5-minute pause or 5-second pause. I'm trying to think about.
I just thought we're talking about her. Maybe she.
I don't know. Now, if you get her husband's name that shows up, I will be super impressed. Her husband's name was Gaston.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if that comes up on a spirit box, like I'll be super impressed.
Yeah.
So then we definitely have something going on because that is not an everyday name you hear unless you're in Disney World. So let's talk about why we're here. So the funny thing that you heard the full phrase of "we didn't start the fire" is part of where this alley gets its name from. It's actually called Philadelphia Alley, and we renamed it that after a city that helped us out of our many fires financially. So the fact that we didn't start it, Philadelphia obviously didn't start the fire, so that's why it's called Philadelphia Alley now. However, it used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city
I
of
remember
Charleston.
that from a tour before.
That's why we're here. This is the space I'm actually taking out this year. So starting next month, I will slowly start to move this out as I investigate the new space, which is going to be a murder mystery. If it turns out to be enough locations where I can make connection with the person that was murdered, it may turn into its own separate tour, say on a Wednesday. Just because, you know, murder mysteries are kind of a thing right now. And if we could actually help solve it.
A good old whodunit.
Yeah, pretty much. And it is unsolved. So I don't know what the answers are. So if we actually collect enough evidence, I may be able to turn it over to the police and they can reopen it up. So again, then that would be actually super important, and that's a lot of publicity for me. So it's not like on a business sense. I just want recognition for what I do out here with you guys every night. That's the whole point. Anyway, back to why we're here. We're here to talk about one of those duels, but every ghost tour comes through here. I know it's surprising right now because there's nobody down here but us, but it is also a Wednesday. It's Duelers Alley. We all tell the same story, but I'm going to give you a few more details because you're ghost hunting, just kind of like that 6 days kind of thing popped up. The other ghost tours make it very cheesy and campy. Let's get into it. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If the two of you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence, it's part of his name. We get it all the time. However, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. She just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. And she has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd moves down here to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. And the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like having a bad Uber driver, a really bad Uber driver. Now, somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen because he knew the coachman that was going to try to kill the newcomer coming to town. So this guy's name is Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for a second because you're ghost hunting. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting the letters RI all the time on your guys' spirit boxes, so I bought that Ouija board device. This is the location of why I have that device. I wanted to make sure the letters were concrete, not to mention we've had R and I show up separately on the the word generator. Back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, he didn't really say dude because it's the 1700s, you guys get the point. I have to do that for the teenagers so that way they pay attention. Now, he says, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from these friends of mine and you'll be safe and good to go. The doc took him up on the offer and the gents became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's making his own. She gets wind of this and she's coming down so they can be married. He became known as the Whistling Doctor. What I'm going to tell you is that every haunted city you will ever visit in the future is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. Ours just happens to be a doctor. This is another reason why I'm taking it out. I don't like cliches. Now, I know it's supposed to be a joke, guys. You guys really got to lighten up. But anyway, back to Dr. Ladd. Him and Ralph go see plays together. They cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So they go see Richard III one night, and they're arguing on the way home. The doctor thought the new actress in the play was great. Ralph didn't. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island, and then it got really ugly. They went their separate ways. Ralph has friends around town, like I said, so he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doctor saw the ad but rebutted with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. Let's settle this. Somebody's gonna die. Keep in mind, this whole stupid argument started over an actress. Yeah, really dumb. So they came down, they took them 10 paces away from each other, and they turned. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and shot. He has one bullet. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up. But Ralph has his one bullet left, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die. He fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, and he dies 10 days later on November 2nd of 1786. Today is the anniversary of that duel. So, with that, every tour that comes down here will tell their guests to listen for the whistles. We have a video camera running, plus my voice recorder. This is why we don't stay long here, because if we're going to capture a whistle, it's going to be on the audio from Sheena's camera or my voice recorder. We've also gotten whistling parts of songs and the word doctor from a commercial immediately after. I do not find that coincidence. I've been coming here for 4 years. It happens all the time. We also get the number 59 because of his address. We get all kinds of things relative to the doctor. I will also tell you, during that 10 days, he refused medical treatment. I'll point out two things. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then than what we think of them now. So he's a doctor, and he probably just thought he had lead poisoning. He probably tried to bleed it out himself, but failed because he died. So he was only 22 years old when he passed away. Yeah. Now, every ghost tour will also tell you that if you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through here, turn on the voice recorders from your phones and see if you can capture those whistles. Super cool thing, but keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Carmeline Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every morning. So my office is this way, my garage is this way, so I have to pass the alley. Ever since I got thrown out of here, yes, I got thrown out of here, we're going to talk about that, that's the fun part of the story. I throw a whistle down here every morning at about 4 a.m. So take that for what it is. Let's talk about how I got thrown out of here. I know that there's absolutely nobody down there. This alley, this will also show you kind of how my research goes with spaces like this. It didn't go all the way through this way, the way we came in. There would have been a wall blocking us. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. This used to be called Cow Alley, right before it was Dueler's Alley. So imagine a bunch of cows and chickens down here. So what does that mean? That means the bricks down by Queen Street, those are older than the ones we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, and fingerprint swipes and others. I used to take my groups all the way through and take them all the way down and show off that handprint, but I still treat that handprint and that brick the same way I do a grave. The kid's not there. That's the last place you're going to find him. It wasn't anything paranormal. I was just trying to show how far we've come away from slavery. And I don't care about the diversity of my group. We all need to see it. November 26th, 2020. My entire group of 10 is huddled around one brick, waiting for something to happen with the boxes I handed out. Nothing's happening, and I'm trying to shoot them along because I know nothing's going to happen. Also because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was just trying to be respectful. I didn't realize I was out of bounds for tours. The new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. She thought it was hysterical. We moved on. We got away from him. The next day was Thanksgiving. I worked for the biggest retailer in the world for a good many years in upper management, managing 300 to 400 people at a time. I do not work on Thanksgiving ever again because you all like to fight over towels. So that's why I don't do Thanksgiving anymore, even in my own business. So the next day was the 28th. I called my partner that morning, told him what happened with the owner of that mansion, and he laughed hysterically too, just like my daughter did. And he said, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the cutoff point for tours. Otherwise, it's residential. You gotta stay out of residential areas, reroute the group. So I told my team that night, I don't believe in the next story because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next, in case you didn't pick up on that. And we're going to see what happens. I've never had anything happen with my equipment, and I have investigated it, but nothing ever occurred. However, that night, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box before we left this space. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was like, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. We get up and around the corner. I told them what little bit I did know about piracy in Charleston, because remember, I had like less than 12 hours to do some quick research. And somebody else here's the number 300. I don't know what that one means. I write it down. I'm doing the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So, some of you might think that that's very exciting. I was actually pissed off. Let me tell you why. I have a master's degree in creative writing. Even when I'm writing my fiction, I like facts and data. Pirate stories come from pirate lore that were written 100 years after the alleged occurrence of these events. So, I had to read like a bazillion books on pirates just to try to like make sure like what we're about to discuss is a legitimate thing. So I looked for the common factors between all of those books and kept like a 5-subject notebook on pirates and Anne Bonny's tale, just to see how accurate this is going to be. It is a fun story. It is a big roll of the dice if she'll be there. It might be light like what we had at the Pinckney Mansion site, but whatever's going on with Sue, the number 6, like this I was a little nuts. Like I wasn't expecting that. That's where I said things can go awry. So before we leave this space, I also like to point out the gate. This will also show you the research of the location. Remember, there's a wall up here, so they can't get out this way. If there's a loser to the duel down here, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of the wall. So otherwise, they have to walk all the way down to Queen Street and then double back with a dead body, so before they can go celebrate with the winner. So again, not a lot of people know why this gate is, or this archway is even here. For you guys that now live here, you're going to see a lot of this wrought iron work. A lot of that was put there in the late 1800s to early 1900s, I believe. So that's more than likely when the gate itself was put there, but the archway is definitely part of the original wall. So there wouldn't have been a gate during the 1700s. They would just use it to get over there. So very interesting space, but again, this is going to be bled over into our next location because we're going to end up basically where those lights.
And we do pumpkin carving.
Well, if she has ghosts, I'll be happy to come investigate.
Right.
So, I mean, I've been coming here since I got booted out of there in 2020. So this one's going to stay for a while. And when you said that she worked in like the house part, are you like talking the original? Because you guys see like how the bricks change. So
Wherever like the magazine is.
the magazine
Yeah,
is right there.
right there. So that's where she worked
Okay.
for years, and that's how she got the apartment upstairs,
Nice.
like at the apartment and stuff. They
So-
gave her like a really good deal because she worked for them, and they weren't using the space, so it's a really cute house, really
It is.
nice part.
Square footage wise, what am I asking? You have to guess.
I don't know because it's like
Is it 2, 3 bedroom?
so it's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. The baths are tiny.
Okay. So probably like about 1,100, maybe 1,200 square feet.
Yeah, because it's like there's a lot of space. You go up and you go up like tiny steps and then up steps, and then the floors aren't huge, and then you go upstairs and it's like tiny steps. So it's like the porch floor and then steps, and then
For as long as I've been
kitchen.
coming here, I've always wondered what that place looks
Yeah,
like.
it's
Sorry
really
if I'm taking
cute.
away from the night, but I'm like,
Yeah, cute porch. You can like see everything up there. Yeah.
all right, let's talk about why we're here. So we are here because of the Gunpowder magazine. So that, again, it held gunpowder for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So that would be the Stono Rebellion. But those are not crosses on the building, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. Which, by the way, did you guys hear anything along the way here? And it was a short little walk, but did we get anything?
0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 4 zeros
Okay.
in a row.
Interesting.
100.
Okay.
3, 5. What was it? 3, 5, 7, 2. It was 3, 5, 7, 2. But all this time I hadn't heard any numbers totally until as we were walking.
Okay.
And then it just heard always somebody before.
Don't quote me on this. I want to say that the pirate Anne Bonny, I want to say her birthday is March 5th. 3-5. So I have to look that one up just to be sure. So 3572 0000 and then 100. Got it. I I like the 3.5. It just stood out to me for some odd reason. Anyway, all right, so let's get back to why we're here. Earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with what those are, especially for those of you that live here, you need to know. They're basically turnbuckles. So they go all the way through the building. In the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886 that I've already previously mentioned, you can tighten them, and it squeezes the building together so it doesn't incur any further damage. It kind of holds it together. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work. And even the apartment building behind this actually has them on every single floor. What's interesting about these earthquake bolts is that they are on all 4 sides. So it actually would crisscross going over this way through the floors of that building. Oh, that's Jackie. She's fine.
Sweetheart, you're adorable.
Yeah, she's very friendly.
She's
Does
pretty.
she have a home?
She belongs to Circular Church. So
Take her.
this was Jack at one point
Yeah.
until I seen she was pregnant. I'm like, we're changing your name to Jackie.
Oh, she's sweet.
Yeah, she's very sweet. She's very sweet. And we've used Jackie in the investigation in previous nights because the parking spots have numbers. So we'll ask our friend Ann to kind of give us specific numbers, like to see, like, hey, can you? Because some of these numbers are relevant. Can you tell us how old you were when you were, captured and things like that? And she would go right to that parking spot and sit on the number.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, it is cool.
Jackie, go do something.
It was a while ago. But anyway, so back to the earthquake bolts. The reason why I bring those up specifically about the ones on the gunpowder magazine is because that's the first set that Charleston ever put in. So it's part of the reason why we're here. The reason why that's the first set is because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. So again, kind of gives you an idea of why we're here. It was finished in 1713, and Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life at the time that this was being constructed. So it's what I call a familiar. If you watch the TV shows these days, they use a new device called a Boo Buddy. It's basically a teddy bear with that blinky light EMF meter in it, so if a child ghost comes near it, it'll go off. So it'll light up. And that's only because the child would recognize the teddy bear as a toy. Same principle with the building. We don't have any buildings this old, so we're just hoping that Anne's going to be here at the same time we are because she would recognize it because it's from her era. Does that make sense? So let's get into this. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building? 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's fine. But 1708, try to follow me on this one. There's a few little hairy twists. I will slow down on the twist to make sure everybody grabs them. You cold, by the way? Looks like you're...
Oh, no.
Oh, I seen you just like kind of cuddled up. I'm like, yeah, we got a breeze. It feels good.
No, no.
But again, you guys aren't used to our temperatures. So, 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you with me so far? The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that she kicked them out of the damn country when there's no such thing as airplanes? Yeah, they came here from Ireland, by the way. So, with that, they land in Georgetown. Not familiar with our coast? That's halfway between us and Myrtle Beach. So Dad bought a plantation up there in Georgetown, and Mom dies pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from that plantation to keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. So, back home in Ireland, Anne was a badass when she was a little girl. They say when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, nothing's ever going to be exact except for, filing dates. But they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. So
Stabbed.
I had stabbed
a
her.
while ago.
Oh.
So it was a while back. So it was a
And
little.
I had belly though.
We did have belly.
And stabbed, they came right together.
And he also had the word Jack. The name Jack showed up. So that's why I was like, I want more out of this because one of Anne's lovers was named Jack. So that's why we have Jackie the cat. So that's where all of that stemmed from. All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves, so we're going to see how this actually plays out and see what else we can get. It's weird that we would have that many pirate terms over there, but I don't know if there was something there that would have been attracted to them. So again, I'm not going to call it evidence yet, but again, I still don't believe in coincidences. We do have Jack stabbed in belly, all in the same area. So all Anne Bonny terms for sure. Back to Anne, fast forward. The building's done in 1713, but by 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love with one of these guys so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. So the first guy she falls in love with, his name is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her pirate name. So they run away to Jamaica because Dad did not approve. He's a filthy pirate. So they get married, they go down there, and Cormac becomes Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name is. Now, when they get down there, she realizes that this James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow, like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wanted. So a few years go by, and she falls in love again. Again, there's a handful of lovers here. We're going to discuss them all because that's what makes the story so damn interesting. Guy number 2 is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. Now, this is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy is. He has his own ship, he has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of that crew, but you cannot put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? I see those wheels
I
spinning.
can think of 100 reasons.
Figure we are an adult group. I can ask that question. It's bad luck. I'll keep you guys in check.
Is that what you said? Yeah. I saw it in a movie somewhere.
You said bad luck?
Yeah.
Fair enough. So you dirty-minded ladies over here.
Well, when you said that, I got screwed 3 times.
You did.
Right?
I said we're keeping it dirty. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like my crew, then you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But she's a lady in his quarters. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and they're going to get rid of Jack as captain. They'll vote him off. There's democracies on every ship. So before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Have the baby here. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out. Come back later. We'll figure it out when you get back. She goes and has that baby, returns without a child. I have no idea what happened to the baby. No amount of my research has ever found it. However, she does come back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. To make him even more angry, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he captured while she was gone. They are down below deck. Guy number 3, in case you were losing track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time frame. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. They don't know how to use cannons yet because they have not been pirates for very long. So, obviously 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. So, they get arrested, and as Anne, they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, Jack, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up a lot on our communication devices. We got it just last night, so I was pretty excited about that when I discovered it. Anyway, back to the judge. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. So the 2 ladies go in front of this judge, and they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge does not give a shit that they are female. They are still pirates in his eyes. He's going to hang them. They scream out, "We plead our bellies." Basically, they're claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. They won. So, judge basically sends them back to jail, delays the hanging until later, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. And she had 4 children, died at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending. So, we don't know much about her after her pirate career, and what I told you about after her pirate career is just a common thing among many resources. There are a lot of speculations of what happened to her. Some say she went to Virginia, some say she stayed here. All of them say that she changed her name and had a different number of children, but the common number was 4. So, Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you that it was something simple like fever. I'm going to call bullshit. Let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? Let's make it bumpy and gross and nasty. So, here's what I left out of the story so you guys have something to work with all of your communication. I'm not going to assign questions. You can ask anything you want to here. Just kind of make sure they're not yes-no questions. But I did leave out the names of Anne Bonny's parents on purpose. That's the father and the mistress. I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland, and the color of her hair. Anything else is fair game. You can ask, again, kick this woman in the shins to get your damn answers. Paul, on your end, we don't get a whole lot of EMF here. A 2.5 is exciting here. So the closer you get that way, you're going to have 2 electrical poles, parking meters on the other side. You're going to start to see like 3 to 7s. It's mainly on this back half. This wall is not your friend, Sheena. It's covered in leaves. It's going to look like a whole army of people just standing there because you've already seen how it'll try to redirect. And ghosts are not taller than us, so you'll start to get the outline of the contour of the roof of the powder magazine, and it's going to look like somebody looming over us. Yeah, not there. It's just picking up the angles of the building. So nice slow motions out of everything. Do we have any other words we need to know about? Did you get screw and all kinds of...
I got, does Adam mean anything? I got, and I
The problem is we're next to a cemetery.
Okay, you gotta go on
So
the
every
other
once in
side.
a while, like I have to look into the records when weird names show up just to see if we have a connection.
I got load, I got Adam load. I got ISO.
East. So that's like the Spanish word for island. So we're talking Jamaica, Cuba.
Ireland.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, she was definitely in that area being a pirate with
And
all
Gracie. I got Gracie.
Gracie. All right. Anything weird come out of yours, Jimmy?
Not really.
I know you were trying to focus on me too.
I know.
And Alicia just likes to shout hers out. So.
That seems so accurate.
I like it.
That is so accurate. Oh my god.
So I want you guys to imagine if there's like 12 of you. How I have to keep everybody in check. Like, come on, guys, let's get it together. I got history to talk about. You guys can work in 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, if you guys are picture takers, that's pretty good. I think it's 88% moon tonight. Yeah, 88.
Huh.
When we get a full moon, it's usually right next to the steeple from this angle. So when you guys are down here on full moon, you might want to go landscape so you can get the whole thing. Get the steeple in there. I'm not trying to tell you how to take your pictures.
Yeah.
My wife she's got a bachelor's degree in photography. I learned a lot about pictures.
More than you ever wanted to know, I'm sure.
No, it actually helps me out with this.
Oh, okay.
So I do use a digital camera. Like if I have 12 people, it's usually one of the last things that's brought out. So that way I know how to analyze them and put them through the forensics of like where are the pixels missing, why does the light come in this way, why do we have this false positive. Like it does come in handy.
Okay. Yeah, I could see where some expertise in that would
Yeah.
be.
She also
Useful.
designed my logo. She does a lot of like my podcast artwork and stuff like that. So I will send her like, hey, I'm looking for this idea. Can you just slap our logo on it, put my font on there? So she still does all that for me, even though she's training to be a vet. Like she switched gears from Bachelor
Oh,
of
that
Arts.
is a big change.
Well, she's wrapping up her master's right now, so she just has to kind of fill in some of the science coursework before she can apply down at LSU. So once she applies, or once she gets the science work done here at CFC, then she'll be able to apply, and we'll be off to Voodoo Land.
That is just a very big swap, though, to go from doing anything artsy to into anything medical. That's
Right. Well,
But you know,
with the dogs that we have 3 miniature dachshunds, and one of them, well, actually 2 of them are ESAs because I have epilepsy. My wife has CMT, so she has kind of like a little bit when she goes out in public without me, kind of thing. So she'll take Emily with her. But Byron kind of like knows some of my signals. If I need my meds, he'll lick my face, like, hey, what's going
yeah,
on?
they're
with you, man?
smart in a whole other way.
Byron is ridiculous. There is like that dude is me in a dog form. Like it is just the strangest thing. But we've learned a lot about the conditioning of dogs, and we went through training with all of them. What do you got?
Oh, I accidentally turned this off.
You jerk.
But then I like turn it back on over there silently.
Well, you don't have the one that's recording.
Okay.
So you have the green one, and he has the red one.
Okay.
So the red one means record. So that way I know. But yeah, you
Okay.
should be sweeping now.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't know. I turned it back on, but I was like, that should be all right.
843.
That's our area code. I throw them away.
Oh, okay.
Too easy. So Charleston.
Nerd
843.
I didn't know that was,
Was
the
it?
area code. I
Nerd?
don't know what the number is
Nerd?
out here.
Yeah,
So
that'd be all of us.
843. Okay.
Yeah, I
And
throw those away
anyone?
for sure. Nerd anyone. Yeah, that should be say everyone, not anyone, because all of you are nerds with me tonight. So I'm still geeking out that we had that many specific clues about Sue. So, Jackie, what are you doing, baby? Where are you going?
Red hair? Does she have red hair?
She did. Did you hear red hair?
I heard like red wine.
Yeah.
I didn't hear red hair. I heard red.
Get the city. We haven't had that one in a while. So it seems like you're doing pretty well. It's damn city.
I mean, Alicia does seem like a person a ghost would want to talk to. I do feel that, like, you know.
Like a jerk. Baby, can I touch you too?
You know what I mean, though.
You have a ghost in there. Her name's Colleen. Did you see it?
Indeed.
She waved at you. They should pick up our shadows here. Did you pick up our shadows down this way? Surprised, because we're all like looks like there's 12 of us.
Takeover. The word takeover.
I like that.
Your emotion, my emotion, something like that. That's what it sounded like, at least.
How was your first name?
Your emotion, my emotion was before the word takeover. I closed my eyes and actually like.
Yeah, this is weird because it doesn't look like you're walking. It looks like people are like dancing because it's so strange.
Weddings? Sorry.
I'm still looking for things. Listen, anything?
Anything?
I think it's about time to call it, because even the things that you have going on are pretty vague. Nothing going. So I think you can just probably leave your millimeter there. I'm gonna hand you guys the equipment that we're gonna be using, and then I'm gonna take the other 3 over to that monument. The only thing I'll ask is that you don't put on the gear until we come back, just because if I'm blindfolding people when you're sitting here all blindfolded, and people are gonna come in. A lot of times it's 2 women sitting here, so I always make the joke of like, well, I'm blindfolding women in the middle of a dark park. What are you gonna think about? So, yeah, you guys will be standing out here for 5 minutes or so while I give them the quick history. See what we're looking for, and then we will come back after this. So those are going to sit next to you, so hang on to those.
Okay.
Then I'm going to give you a disposable blindfold. You can keep your own eye boogers and earwax. Look at the souvenir. So if you want to figure it out, it's like an origami project.
Okay.
If you figure it out, I'll be shooting the best. All right, you guys sit here and be besties for 5 minutes. I'm going to
If they're noise canceling headphones, how do I hear the question?
That's the point. You're not supposed to.
I'm just gonna say it. Whatever I hear on here. All right, it's gonna be good.
Let's go over here. Come on, keep asking it. Alright. The first time I came in here was November of last year. So I only had 2 people. It was cold that night and everybody else canceled. Like they chickened out on me. So I was like, oh, perfect time to go investigate a new space. I want to see why the other ghost tours are coming in here. What I found is they're not talking about the same person that I am. So we were using a spirit box that night, and what the young lady heard on the spirit box, I told her, it's like, just tell me whatever you hear, because I don't know what we're going to find. She hears the year 1828 and the name Henry. I'm using Colleen's word list on me, and I have the name Tim. The bust behind me is Henry Timrod, born in 1828. So just kind of like we had those very specific clues about Sue earlier, I was like, well, hot damn, first night, we have our ghost, check it out. So here's how his story goes, it's very quick. He was sick through most of his life, and he was a writer. Being born in 1828, he's obviously old enough to go fight in the Civil War. So he goes out to the battlefield, and his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They sent him home, knowing he was a writer, and said, go be the voice of the war. So he came home and started writing poetry about what was going on the battlefield. So he became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. So that's a pretty prestigious title, in case you're not familiar with the writing world. A couple years go by, he's writing poetry, and he has a son. His son's name is Willie, and he was born on Christmas Eve, but died 9 months later on October 23rd. Just the anniversary of that was 3 days ago. Henry himself died on October 6th, so just kind of keep that in mind. We have 2 October dates, that's why it's been so quiet here. But going on, a couple more years go by, he's not writing as much, and another writer friend of his another Charleston writer, his name is Paul Hamilton Hayne. He realized, what's that?
Paul Hamilton. Gary Paul Hamilton. What's his name?
Get the hell out of here.
This is full name.
Perfect. Don't say anything. I want to see what happens with this whole scenario. But he realizes he's not writing as much, so he says, go use my cottage in the middle of Columbia. That's the middle of the state. And you can get back on track, leave Katie, your wife, behind to mourn with her parents. They were here visiting to help with the whole mourning piece. So he goes out there and he writes his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality, basically meaning, dear person with a short life. And then he coughed. Didn't we have the word throat that showed up?
Yeah.
Then he coughed, and he coughed up blood on the page that he was working on and died right there. He had tuberculosis. Now, the interesting thing about the blood stain is that it looks like a man writing at his desk. That's his legendary mark. We call it the blood book. We show it 1 day a year at the Charleston Library Society, and you have to be a member of that library society to be able to go see it, and they only show it on Halloween. Yes, very interesting. The internet's beautiful. I'm going to show you what this blood book looks like, and then we're going to go talk to Alicia as if she were Henry Timrod. When we get over there, we're going to stay pretty close to them. You're going to be filming the entire thing. I don't take notes during this because I want to make sure everybody's breathing is okay, especially when I'm taking away senses from them or adding on Paul's sense. But I keep an eye on their breathing, and you might want to pay attention of what I'm telling them in there, like what to expect out of this. So here is the blood book. So you can see beholder of brief mortality, cough, cough, death. We have a legendary blood book mark.
Wow.
Yes. So this is a lot of fun. So let's see what we can get out of this. But again, pay attention to what I'm going to be telling them of what to expect. So you're going to be part of this, just because she can't hear us. So you're going to be the person that kind of gives her those motions. Like we're going to tap her on the leg when we're done, tap her on the shoulder if she's too loud, those kind of things. So you're going to have to definitely be involved. And you're going to be the one to put the noise canceling headphones on because it's blindfold, earbuds, then the headphones go on. So you're going to be the one to put the headphones on or probably from behind her. All right, let's get to work. Oh, I was like, this guy's weird. You ready? Yeah. Okay. Don't put anything on there.
Okay.
You're gonna give it a 56. Okay. So, here's what to expect of yours. Did you figure out your origami project?
No. I started to feel like I was gonna break it, so I put it in.
I bring a stack of them.
Oh, did you? I was like, this is a good break.
I have a friend of mine, he runs another podcast, and I told him, like, we've been doing this, and he's like, how do you blindfold everybody and keep it sanitary? I'm like, I use disposable blindfolds. And he's like, is that in the 50 Shades of Grey on the Amazon section? I'm like, it might be. But you're
I
almost
don't
there.
want to open this up.
I mean, if I had to
But I was
look,
scared I was
that's
gonna rip
pretty
it.
much
I
where I'd
didn't
start.
You're good. Open it up, and then there's a tear right here in the center of it, so it looks like it opens up like a Batman. It's not going to go all the way around your head.
Okay, so
You see the perforation right there? That's where you're going to tear it.
okay, just tear it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm scared of it. Okay.
There you go. And then these go through your ears. Don't put anything on yet, but that's how this goes.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
So yeah, I got a whole big box. That, like
That's
my
cool.
office manager laughs at me because she knows if it's a big box, it's all my blindfolds, and then if it's a smaller box, it's the earbuds because I buy everything in bulk
Yeah.
because I do this so often. But anyway, here's what to expect. So Paul, on your end, you're basically going to be able to hear my questions. You're not going to know why I'm asking the questions they are, but I did find out something that's specific about you that it might tie into this. So you're going to hear what I'm asking, but you're going to just see images kind of floating in cyberspace. It's just going to be a 2D picture, nothing 3D in your face. You're just going to very briefly describe what you see, just because I'm going to be focused because she can't hear anything. You guys are going to be talking over each other. So I don't have too much overlap. I want to make sure your descriptions are brief. So you've used VR before, but I will set it up for you and put it in your headset. On your end, you're literally going to be talking to me. You just don't know what I'm asking.
Okay.
So
Just
you're-
whatever it's telling me.
Even yes, no answers.
Okay.
I might ask her a ghost if I'm wearing a black vest. I'm
Okay.
expecting you, not knowing what the question is, to say yes. So again, this is all real time. You do have a couple of things you need to know. We're only going to keep both of you under for 10 minutes. This can be very exhausting. So just so you have that idea. When we're done, Gina's going to tap you on the leg. You're going to be able to
Okay.
hear me, obviously, so I'll just say, go ahead and peel that thing off your face. Tap on the leg means we're done. If you're talking too loud, she's going to tap you on the shoulder. Quiet
Okay.
down, we have neighbors. So
Okay.
I kind of notice when you have both earbuds in, you like to speak up. So most people do, it's fine.
Always.
And I will never touch you. It's going to be Sheena. If anything goes awry, and I'll just put that word out there because things have occurred during this, she will be the one to help you get out of all of the gear if things go wrong.
Counting on you, Sheena.
So for you, it's going to be blindfolds,
Okay.
earbuds, and then hand over the earmuffs to Sheena so she can put them over your head once you have the earbuds in your ears. Do not touch your spirit box once you find a comfortable volume. You want to make sure you're not cheating.
Okay.
I found teenagers that cheat during this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so
Never like cheaters.
Here, give me these before you get
oh,
all
I catch
the
them
rest of
red-handed
that.
because I'll ask a dumb question on purpose if I think they're cheating. Like, what color is a blue banana?
So
What
you
did I
can get caught
do?
in
You know,
here.
and if
Oh,
they say
boy.
Hold on.
blue
There
He
you
said,
go.
or
hold
even
us, little
yellow,
boy.
I know that they heard. They can hear me.
Said, you know?
Just setting this up for you. I'm not filming it. I'm just waiting.
No,
for this to start.
I want to take her picture.
You're gonna have a full film.
We
Gotta
should
keep
go
those for blackmail
already.
later. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These suckers are snug, so
Yeah.
see if you need to adjust.
Can you hear us?
So you're gonna see gray smoke on there, Paul. You're gonna tell us everything that's not gray smoke. Let me see your headset. Slide this in there.
How do I know when to start?
Your focus is right here.
That's a
Dial,
good
and then
question.
the pin is on the bottom if you need to push it out. Okay, I would say we're good. Let's get in nice and tight. Get your picture, and then we're gonna move this in nice and tight. Because again, if other toys walk by, I don't like them to see what the hell I'm doing. It is 11:12.
Okay.
So again, our 10 minutes starts now. Did you tell her to go ahead and start?
What?
Go ahead and lift up her earmuff and just let her know it's okay to tell us.
Okay, you can start telling us now.
She can't hear you. You
Can
gotta,
she-
gotta be a little louder.
You can start telling us now.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm seeing
Thank
I
you.
didn't know how well
do
she
you
had
see?
in those earbuds.
Looks like
I wasn't
black.
looking at it.
We're seeing blood already.
Red blood.
Red blood is coming up on an
Creepy.
image already, so walk along my world, buddy. That's how this goes. Okay.
They simply widen.
Henry,
It's
Timrod,
made to be big.
if you are here, you need to give us some kind of, I know.
We had a brick house.
Ooh. Henry,
102.
If you're here, can you tell us about your occupation, please?
We don't have anything to fear. Do it on your own.
Henry, I'm going to bring
No.
something up. The gentleman sitting next to Alicia actually has the exact same
Get out.
name of your college friend.
Don't make me mad.
I'm not kidding. He really does. Paul Hamilton, correct?
He's in pretty good shape. Oh, run with me.
I like the brick house piece for some
Don't
reason.
speak.
A little bit of no doubt. Henry,
Ocean floor.
I would still like some kind of confirmation. Can you tell us about your occupation, please?
He used it as a fire.
Better yet, tell me what we're hearing right now. Keep an eye on your word list. We've gotten the
102.
word bells before. Same thing on yours. Henry, what sound did we just hear out of the church? You can even show us images.
Bulletproof. Red.
Henry.
Mortimer Red?
It's a really weird name. Henry.
Don't speak.
Oh, she's back there, no doubt. Henry, what did we just hear out
Take
of the
me
church?
home.
I,
Oh Lord, take me home.
I know that this has been a very long month for you, and it's a mourning month for you and your son. But we're just looking for confirmation that you're here.
May.
We're not going to poke and pry.
Oh baby, take me.
You have the word baby. I mentioned your son.
On the wings of an angel.
Oh my.
Wow.
Can you tell us how old Willie was when he passed away? Can you give us the number of the months? I'll take that as a definitive answer.
My heart.
Henry, let's be more specific. I know you're in mourning because of
Chasing cars.
what month we're in. I know it's difficult for you.
The National Debt Relief Program.
Told you this could be very silly.
Don't speak.
Henry,
Just breathe.
let's go back to Willie. Can you tell us how old he was when he passed away, please? How many months? What was the age?
I need more.
You probably needed more time, is what I'm guessing you're getting at.
Candle in the wind.
John?
Go into the sun.
Any images on your info?
There I go.
I want to go back to your occupation because Paul Hamilton Hayne had the same occupation. Can you tell us or show us one of the tools you had to use?
Red.
What's the color red? Henry.
May.
I have May on here.
She said it twice so far during this. And he had May 4th much earlier.
Walmart.
Oh, you weren't shopping there yet, Henry.
John.
Who else is here with you, Henry? Is John here? That's a yes/no question.
You need to confess.
I'm not confessing anything. Which, by the way, Paul, if my wife is sending you 30 pictures, because that is my phone, just let us know what you see. I'm not ashamed that she's hot. I'm good with it.
Now.
Henry, who else is here with you? Is there a John here?
I just got college.
And I heard built on a
You said
foundation. It was like one of the first greatest things I've heard.
That brick house thing is really specific. I don't know why. I don't know where Henry lived. I know the schoolhouse that
A
he
big
lived at.
bay window.
Whoa.
Wow. Is it? Are you talking about the cottage where you were at in Colombia, where you passed away? That's a yes/no question, please.
I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone.
We know that. That's why we're here.
Don't think about your family, think about my family.
We are poking the bear in a month of mourning for them. That one makes sense. She's really good at this, by the way. She needs a job.
Call Johnny for your trade-in.
That's the second time she said the name John.
Yeah.
Henry, I don't know who this John is that you're speaking of.
Red rubbish.
Paul, anything?
Nothing. Just smoke.
Like a Cuban cigar in there?
Yep.
Does it smell good? Yep. It smells like Lysol because that's how I clean the equipment. Notice.
It's trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Damn ZipRecruiter commercial slips through all the time. Henry, we're running out of time. We got about 3 minutes left. I want to go back to you and Paul Hamilton. Can you tell us what your occupations were? You had the same one. Come on. You could show us one of the tools.
Did you figure out where he was at? Now he's rested.
The baby.
Maybe the baby. Can you tell me where Willie, your son, is buried? He's literally right next to him, like, and it's on a cage just like that. So the little red wrought iron fence, and that's in Columbia. It's not here. Notice she got quiet as I kind of explained that to you too. Henry, where is Willie buried?
In the house. Go back into the house.
Okay, so we're going back to the house.
At this time, I got State Farm. I know it was State Farm, but that could be a farm. I don't know. I've
What's
heard
funny
that.
is we actually had
Go into the night.
two images one night that were basically, one was like the fields and then the farmhouse with a barn house. Like it was weird. I didn't understand it because I want to say like the cottage was like it's a regular cottage back in the 1800s.
The clues are running out.
Yeah, you need to give us more shit. We need to like follow the trail. Henry, do you want us to go home? Would you like us to leave? Keep an eye on that word box. They might show up there. Henry,
Do you have any images on?
Go ahead.
you've had what, 2, Paul?
Just one, the blood at the beginning.
17.
Henry, we're gonna wrap this up. Can you say goodnight to us? You seem to have gotten pretty quiet about everything. Can you say?
597.50.
I know who's here. Henry, did you bring Dr. Ladd with you? Is Dr. Joseph?
I have.
Okay. She said 5975. His address was 59 Church Street. That is 0.3 miles over there. He likes to slip through every once in a while. That's the reason why I'm asking. Dr. Ladd, can you give us something to show that specifically to you? You can show us an image, and you've done it for us before. You can show us a gun, a pistol. You can show me medical supplies, anything that's definitive to
The
you.
one thing is now to listen.
Okay. Amanda was her name, not Alice. You're on the right track. We are trying to listen to you, Dr. Ladd, but you've got to give us something specific so I know that I'm asking the right questions. And we're running out of time, no less. We're actually right on time to end this.
Just slow down.
Dr. Ladd, what was the name of your fiance?
Maisel.
I don't know the fiance.
75 Accord.
No images at all?
No.
Dr. Ladd, we're going to wrap this
Step
up.
on into it.
We're going to wrap this up. We don't like to keep folks under for too long. Can you say goodnight back to us?
$17.92.
He died in 86. 1786. Henry, Dr. Ladd,
Rivers.
we are leaving. We're going to say goodnight. Go ahead and touch, all right? Paul, go ahead and yank that thing off your face.
That done?
Yep. Done. Take a look. Let's see, make sure you
You were good at that.
You are really good at that, by the way.
Really?
We have neighbors. If you want to take your earbuds out. Take your earbuds out. There you go.
Oh, there we go. What happened? I remember Walmart.
So this was a lot of very conversational pieces. So there was a couple of little definitive things in there. I would call this probably slightly successful. Just because we did have, like, you gave me direct answers. I asked if there was somebody else here with you. Did you bring somebody else? And you said, I have.
Like literally. Yes.
Yeah, one image came out of this. I don't even know what this is. It just looks like bloody gauze. So take that for what it
It
is.
was
It could be the-
pulsing.
Wow, really? Yeah.
It does that when it's like kind of generating. So it's translating the EMF around it, and it's going to look like it's moving a little bit. So when we get the still, and sometimes even when I blow them up, like as I look them at on a computer too, it still looks a little bit more different. Like you can make it out a little bit better. Like it might be a burnt piece of cheese for all I know. So again, it just looks a little bit different when we get it on the computer. And we've had like some nights where we've gotten 0 pictures, and there's other nights where we've had 10. We never know what we're going to get.
relevant almost right away based on
It
the
was.
story you told us.
Exactly. This guy died by tuberculosis by coughing up blood. And the blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. So I was asking a lot about his occupation, but everything like you had wasn't a whole lot of like definitive this, that, or the other. It was more like I'd ask a question like, hey, did you bring somebody else? I have. And I would start asking questions, and you would say, slow down. You need to listen. And they were 2 separate things. So it was more conversational like that. So I'm going to still call this slightly, even because there's really nothing I can prove here. It was a lot of like direct answers, just because it was very conversational. So I'm actually happy with this only because this has been kind of a dead thing to do in the month of October because the man died in October and his son died in October. So he's been in like mourning. And I think we even had something come up about that during this session, like when he said, or now's not the time for that, or something along those lines.
Something about concentrate on my family, not
Oh yeah,
yours.
there is, yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
It's not about your family, concentrate on my family. So it was almost like, hey dude, show some respect. It was kind of like the message I got out of that. So again, very interesting. How do you guys feel, by the way? I know you've done VR before, so I wasn't like,
I feel fine.
yeah. Normally on person, it's never been all of this sensory overload. How do you feel? You seem fine.
Yeah, I think good.
I've actually had people go into seizures over this. I've had people hyperventilate, so that's why I say keep an eye on your breathing. I'm not going to sit here and write a bunch of notes down. With this, it's very conversational, so I don't know that I'll need to go back and like rewatch it. I'll just probably give you X amount of points because it was conversational. So I'm actually pretty happy with this. Even the bloody thing that you got, I know you only had 1 image. I was trying to get you more involved, and it only happened to be 1. The funny thing is his college friend, who is also a writer, is named Paul Hamilton Hain. And his name is Paul Hamilton, in case you guys were wondering. In case you were wondering, because he told us over there. That's why I was like, oh, this will actually work out really well. I was hoping that he would be a trigger object. So, sorry to use it as an object, but I use it as an object. Any other craziness on the word list that we need to know about?
Many church